pretty quickly and moving, feeling better, breathing better. So towels. If you can, a small towel or something that you can kind of wrap up because we're going to be using this. And then also, if you've got a foam roller or else you can use a rolling pin with a towel wrapped around it just for something firmer that we're going to be doing, using also. So if you can get those two things, small towel, maybe a couple of them rolled up, something you can squeeze and feel like there's some thickness to it so it doesn't just flatten out too fast, but something, maybe even a small pillow could work. All right, guys. And then our usual sort of foam roller setup, which is rolling pin with a towel wrapped around it. So these two things are what we want to have, or foam roller, pillow, or towel with the rolling pin, and maybe a couple smaller towels rolled up, because we're going to be doing a lot with the core work today, and we want to make sure we have something we can kind of squeeze with different positions to help generate some core stability. All right, so those are the at-home pieces we're going to do. All right, guys. All right, well, I don't want to wait too much longer, but hopefully everybody's going to be able to jump on and get some of the breathing in. So I'm just going to use a small towel today for the breathing, but if you need something longer to kind of get around your sides especially, it really helps to get that lateral expansion. Okay, that's always probably the most difficult piece, so I like to focus on that when we first jump on, because we want to get that pattern a little bit programmed in before we do all the other stuff that depends on it. All right, so just taking a simple towel here, I'm going to wrap it around my sides, encourage some movement there. You can squeeze and pull a couple times. See if you can feel your ribs getting pulled together. All right, we're just kind of reminding the body that there's some movement there and here, and that this rib cage is mobile. All right, so if you were laying down on your side and I came up to you, I'd want to be able to push on those ribs, and they should move and not be and jammed tight. All right, so we're just giving a little bit of movement here. So I'm pulling, kind of wrapping. I can go up a little higher and squeeze a little bit. And you should just start to feel like there's some movement going on there. All right, and that's what we hope to feel when we start breathing. So now, just got a few of those. Now we're just going to hold, not too firmly because I don't want you to restrict your breath, but give yourself a little pressure that's like a guide for you to breathe into. So we're going to try to breathe down low here, and then we're going to breathe out to the sides at the same time. So we want to get ourselves stacked. We don't want that rib cage flaring up. We want to get it stacked down over the hips. And you're much more likely to get that lateral expansion when you get that breath in. You can encourage the ribs to come together on the exhale. Let them move apart on the inhale. Just keep getting that breath in. You can tuck your hips a little bit underneath, and that may help you get a little bit more stacked, so a little bit of a hip tuck. May help you find that bottom of your breath. Okay, so if you've had any kind of restricted breathing for a while, you may have been up there trying to breathe up into your chest a while, and it's a hard pattern to break. All right, we feel like there's no other room to breathe sometimes except our chest. But it's helpful to remember that the widest part of the rib cage is down low, and it's more flexible down here too. So there's a lot of room to expand and breathe down here. Okay, so give that a little bit more push. Imagine you're driving your air down into the floor. Give yourself a little bit more time to get an exhale out. Try to make your exhale longer than your inhale. And you may start noticing, my breath's getting a little deeper. We're going to do that one more time. Good, guys, good. All right, now, when we start to work today, when I ask you to squeeze or push or get your core tight or generate some force and try to feel muscles contracting, we're definitely going to need the core to turn on at that point. And in that point, you're going to have a lot less movement in your core. It's going to be actually more stable and a more of a fixed point from which we're going to try to move our shoulder or our hip. Okay. So now we're going to practice getting a little pressure on this towel, and we're going to push. Now I'm going to breathe into it. And then imagine that on the exhale, I'm pushing into my belly, but I'm not letting it cave in. I'm not letting it deflate on the exhale. I'm actually pushing back on the towel. And I should be getting some tension as I do that. So it's like we created this cylinder shape, all right? And now we're not going to let anything dent it, especially our exhale. Okay, so we're going to create that cylinder, push out. You can do this without the breath. So you can see it almost looks like I'm breathing. I pushed out. Now I'm pushing back, but that can is going to stay strong. Breathing out through pursed lips or any kind of hiss or resisted exhale will help you get better diaphragm control and help you keep that resistance. And you may feel the tension in your muscles in your body sort of tighten up a little bit as you try to maintain that pressure. If you breathe in, the diaphragm is going to move down a little bit. As you exhale, it's going to move up a little bit, but it's small. It's small little movements there. It's not going to change and completely let go. So that's going to be our goal. All right. So all these are skills I recommend are worth practicing separate from movement. Okay. All right, guys. Now, before we get into too much resistance work, we're going to continue to mobilize our spine a little bit. So we're going to get onto sitting back, sort of like child's pose here. We're going to get our towel. All right, and we're going to go right into a sort of a lat stretch here and our spine, okay, because we're going to be getting into the shoulder quite a bit today. So we're going to be looking at kind of mobilizing a little bit of this big muscle, this lat here that tends to pull things down and around, especially in that forward sort of computer position, okay? So our goal is to come down to the floor, all right? We're going to bring our hands as though we're trying to touch between our shoulder blades, okay? So I'm going to bring them here, and I'm going to try to get down here and see if I can get my elbows on our foam roller or our towel. And I'm going to try to just get through here the best I can. So with the roller lifting up my elbows, I'm getting a stretch through here, okay? So this is not the most perfect setup, I know. If you have a long foam roller, then you're in luck because it'll be much easier here. And then we're just going to work on getting a nice stretch here at first. So I just want you guys to hang here for a second. Get some breathing in. Big breaths in. And just let the body sink towards the floor on the exhale. You should be able to feel your ribs expanding as you breathe in. So big breaths in. Again, trying to drive that breath into the pelvis. And now we're going to get up onto our knees, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to get my elbows here, get up onto my knees if I can, and we're going to just sit back, and we're going to start pressing in a little further now, trying to touch between my shoulder blades. This is going to be a challenging position if your shoulders are stiff, but just do your best to get those hands behind your head. And then we're going to start doing some cat-cows here. Okay, so we're going to breathe in. Then on the exhale, guys, we're going to try to arch and come down. Try to keep your head down if you can. And exhale out. Keep reaching. Okay, you may mobilize your shoulders and your body a little as you go through this. So you may find that if you keep reaching down towards your hips with your fingertips, right in the middle of your shoulder blades, that you might start to feel like it gets a little easier as you go through this mobility drill. So big breaths in here. Tuck those hips. Big breath in. Think about driving your chest towards the floor. Big breath in. You're trying to let the foam roller hold your elbows up. I'll do 2 more of these guys. Big breath in. We need to get these lats opened up a little before we do the next piece, which is shoulder rotation. So we're trying to get some change here. Hold the bottom, tuck those hips. This time I want you guys to push down with your chest without arching. Okay, so keep your hips tucked and just try to drive your chest towards the floor as best you can. We're going to get 3 big breaths here. No movement in the back. Big breath in. One more time. Big breath in. And good job, you guys. Good. Oh, so may have felt pretty challenging to be in that position that long, but you can just see how tight that area gets. Okay, next, we're going to lay on our side here. We're going to use that roller for our head. We're going to take the bottom shoulder and we're going to pull it back as though I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blade in that back. So I'm basically pulling my shoulder back, okay? So I should feel my shoulder blades squeezing together like that, okay? So if my thumbs were the medial sort of middle part of the shoulder blade, they'd be squeezing together like that, okay? And then I want to get it away from my ear. So I'm going to get it a little bit more stacked, shoulder over shoulder, okay? This is going to be, again, a little bit tough position to get in. So I'm kind of sitting over on my shoulder, using the towel to hold up my head. I'm going to bend my elbow, and then I'm going to push it down to where I feel like I can still keep my shoulder in that position, but get a stretch here. Okay, so I'm pushing down, and my goal is to try to hold this new position and be able to be strong in this position. You'll notice initially, if you just kind of use this other hand to hold and you let go, it's going to snap back up. So that's an idea here that, hey, I have some mobility, I can get here, but I just don't have the strength to hold it. So we're going to take this small towel, and this is where we get into some detail work, guys. We're going to take this small towel, we're going to put it between our knees, and we're going to use it as something to squeeze with our knees. And you'll notice if you put your fingers on your core, that if you try to squeeze that towel, you should feel some pressure build up in the belly. And that is what we're doing this for. We're using the towel as a target to squeeze the legs, get some activation and tension going in the body, getting the core turned on. And now you may notice that, hey, if I push down, I can actually hold it potentially because I'm more stable. So a lot of times our mobility is lacking because the body just does not feel stable enough to allow us to keep that mobility where it is. So we're going to really work hard. I want you to squeeze this towel as hard as you can. As long as you don't cramp or feel something pinch, just put enough pressure on it that you can try to hold it. And then we're going to push this hand down, and then we're going to try to hold it there. And we're going to do some breath work and some contractions here. So I'm going to put my hand on the other side and encourage this hand to push. So I'm going to breathe in. And on the exhale, I'm going to push my left hand into my right, okay? So I'm going to exhale out and try to do a 10-second press. As hard as I can. I can feel my abs coming on. I'm squeezing this towel. I'm working hard. Now I'm going to switch. I'm going to put my hand on the other side. Try to keep it there. I'm even going to push it a little further down. I'm going to take a big breath in. I'm going to push the opposite direction. I'm going to push this way now. I'm squeezing the towel. I'm keeping my core engaged. I'm switching. I'm going to see if I can get a little further. Big breath in. Push. Working, guys. We're working. You might be shaking a little bit trying to do this. Squeeze the towel. Feel your core turn on. Come around the other side. Now we're pushing the opposite way. Try real hard to keep this shoulder position. Switching one more time. Big breath in. And we're going to push, 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 push. Last one this way. See if you can get a little further down. And push the opposite way. And let it go. And now you may feel like, hopefully, you could have a little bit of change in there. You just got a little bit more rotation. You taught your nervous system that you own this new range and that you can actually use it and be strong there. Okay, so that's our goal. So we're not looking for dramatic change, but trust me, a little change goes a long way in terms of the function of the shoulder, even pain relief sometimes, and just what you have available the rest of your day. So we're switching around. Same thing. This is really important to kind of get the sequencing down here. So remember, we're going to use the towel. All right. We're going to get this bottom shoulder. We're going to pull it in. Okay. We're going to bend the elbow. And at first, we're just going to use the towel to generate some core tension. So if you put your fingers on your belly and you push on that towel pretty hard, you may notice your body gets into a position where it can generate better force, which means, hey, the ribs come down, hips tuck. You may feel like you could push your fingers into your stomach and then push your stomach against those fingers, just like we did on the towel. So you want to feel almost like a wall being built between the ribs and the hips. Okay, guys, now we're going to squeeze that shoulder blade back, get up and over that shoulder so we're pretty level. Okay, we're feeling weight on this knee, we're feeling weight on this elbow because we're kind of rolling forward a little bit. Then I'm going to try to get that shoulder into some internal rotation. There's my stretch, holding it there for a second, trying to figure out where's my end range. Don't let go of the towel. Now we're going to take a big breath in, and we're going to try to push back on the top hand. Don't let go of the towel when you start pushing. Now we're going to switch. Now it's important to remember that the core tension and the tension on this towel need to be more than the tension you're trying to generate with your arm. If you push harder than you are here and here, you're just going to let them go. All right. So I'm coming down. I'm giving myself some resistance. I'm squeezing this towel. I'm going to try to squeeze my core harder than I can push with my arm. Breathe in. Push down. Keep squeezing. Try to build tension. Come around the other side, guys. See if you can start from where you left. Breathe in. Push the other way. Don't let the arm move. If anything, see if you can get a little further. Push down. Keep pushing, guys. It's work. You got to teach the brain that you're strong in this position. So you shouldn't be coming back up on that. Come down a little further. Let's do one last one. Big breath in. Make sure the shoulder's back. Exhale. Push. Good. Keep it there. Last push this way. Push down. Good. And then we can check it. And what you'll notice, hopefully, is that you have more of a separation of movement here, that you can differentiate the movement in your shoulder with a real stable core. All right. And that we're getting a lot of control from that. All right, guys. Good. All right. Next one. We're going to put this down. We're going to get up here. We're going to get into some rotations now with our spine. Keep these close by. Okay. We're going to get on all fours and we're going to get some rotations in. So we're going to start by sitting back again. We're going to bring this elbow down. We're going to pull this elbow back. All right. So that scapular work we were just working on, we're pulling that scapula around again, trying to open up this chest. Hand's going to go back here. I'm pushing away from the ground. I'm going to try to twist my chest open. So I'm trying to lean towards this front knee, trying to turn my chest towards you, trying to get the elbow out of the way, and I'm going to hold here and get some big breathing into my ribs. And I want you guys to push as hard as you can through that bottom shoulder and pull as hard as you can open the other direction. So we're working our back. Think about squeezing your elbows towards each other, okay? Open up, This bottom elbow should be between your knees. Big breath in and out. So lots of concentration work today. Trying to get muscles firing. We're going to about do 3 more breaths here. 2 more. Last one. Good job, you guys. Good. All right, switch. So I'm going to show you from the other side. Elbows going right down the middle. Hands going behind my ear. I'm going to turn as far as I can, turn my chest away from this knee. I'm going to pull this elbow back. I want to try to squeeze my shoulder blades together. I'm going to hold that position. So I'm working to keep that elbow up. It's not just casually hanging out here, guys. We are trying to pull that to help us rotate. I'm pushing off the floor. I'm engaging my core a little bit to do that. So you're going to feel like it's going to be a little more challenging to breathe, but to your best. Okay, 5 breaths here. As you exhale, push and twist a little bit more. Engage that core. Push your feet into the ground. Just to get a little more tension in the body. Big breath in and out. One more time. And then we come back down. Good job, guys. Good. So this is some work we're trying to do. We're going to get up to all fours. Okay, we're going to do some actual movement now. I want you guys to pull that elbow up and reach and then come back down. I want you to reach through your other arm and then pull. Okay, so kind of using this new range, helping map it out, helping adapt it to some new movements. Pull that elbow out. It's like you're pulling that chest open. Reach. I'm going to get 2 more. Pushing through the opposite arm. Good. Then we switch. Again, we're trying to use our new shoulder range as much as we can here. So you guys' shoulders may be burning a little bit because we're going for end range here. So I'm not just kind of stopping where I feel comfortable. I want to try to push past where I normally would. Reach, extend my fingers, really drive off the floor. Really push into these new ranges. Give me a couple more. One more time. All right, good job, guys. Good. So hopefully your mind is on some of that detail work, okay, because we're going to need it on this one. All right, so we're going to take the small towel, we're going to put it in our elbow and hold it there. So we're kind of using the strength of our arm to squeeze this elbow closed and keep it there. That's going to generate a lot of stability in this musculature that's below or above, however you want to think about it, the shoulder. Then we're going to get our core on. So we're going to get on all fours. And our goal is to keep this arm closed as hard as we can. Just like we had to squeeze our legs against the towel, now we're squeezing our arms together. And we're going to try to draw a big circle around with this elbow. So I'm lifting the elbow up as high as I can. When I can't get any further, I'm going to start to go behind me with that towel. But I'm going slow because you'll notice if you're having trouble with mobility here or controlling this range that you're going to want to let go and that towel is going to want to fall out. So you got to go real slow. And anytime you want to speed up, anytime you feel like you're about to drop the towel, push harder through your arm, drive your feet into the floor, squeeze your abs, and come around. So don't go too quick here. These are the controlled, articulated rotations we're doing to help map out and download, essentially, kind of program in our new mobility that we got with the stretching in the beginning and all the mobility through the spine. So we're going real slow here, guys. Try to hang in here with me. When you exhale, try to push into your core. Keep going. If you lose the towel, just put it back in there. Keep going. Try to draw the biggest circle you can go with that elbow. If you're really mobile, you might be able to get your hand behind your back. I'm not going to try because I might drop the towel. I barely got it. Now we're going to go the opposite way, coming around, coming in towards the middle of my body with that elbow, coming back. I'm squeezing this towel. You guys might feel like, how do I generate tension in this position? It's hard. Push through the floor. Drive your feet into the floor. Imagine you're trying to lift yourself off the ground. And we're going to go one last time the opposite way. Keep squeezing, keep pushing through that shoulder, guys. Remember, it's like you're trying to lift your knees up. I want you to be that tight in your body. And we're done with that side. So very controlled work. Hard to understand how hard that work is through the screen. I'll admit that. So we need to just really tune into our own bodies here and just figure out, what do I have to do to generate some more tension in the body? So we're going to do a little experiment on this side. I want you guys to see if you can hold yourself up. You've got your toes, your knees, and your hand down. And I want you to tell yourself, what if I wanted to lift my knees up? You're going to feel your core kick on pretty hard, okay? So just tell yourself, even if you can't lift your knees, start to push as hard as you can, as though the only thing left to do would be to lift your knees, and that might be a good indication of how tense and braced your core should be. So I want you guys to try to push. Tell yourself, I'm going to lift my knees up, but I'm not lifting my knees, and we're going to go through our circles, trying to breathe. Keep breathing through your nose, out through your mouth. We're going up first. Big circles. Trying to pull that elbow back. Trying to draw the biggest circle I can. Keep that towel closed in your arm. Don't start to sink towards the floor. Push the floor away. The harder you push the floor away with your knees, your hands, and your feet, the more stability you're going to generate in your body. Keep going. Big circle. Now we're going to go the other way, guys. Going backwards first. Keep pushing that floor away. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Big circles. Don't get relaxed on your circles. Big, controlled, articulated rotations. We call them cars for that reason. Big circles. Last time coming around. Woo. All right, we're taking a break from that. All right, so if you're like me, we're working pretty hard. You're probably out of breath. You might be sweating a little bit, but that's perfect. We're warmed up, and now we're going to try to use the shoulders just a little bit more, guys. So we're going to actually practice now. I want you to try to see if you can notice how the scapula is kind of sticking up here. We're going to try to swallow it up into the body. Okay, so there's no bump sticking up back here. Okay, so that's pushing away. Now I'm pulling my scapula back up, and I'm pushing it away. My spine, I'm trying to keep pretty straight. So these are called scap push-ups. But we want to try to train those muscles through the serratus here, the chest a little bit, how to get some of these motions through the scapula where we have better control. So run up and down. And then for those of you who feel like you can lift your knees up, add a little bit more load, and try to accomplish the same thing. We don't want to see the head moving, so keep that chin in. We're going to do about 4 of these. All the work is through those shoulder blades. Almost done. Good. Next, we're going to change the angle. We're going to start going overhead a little bit here. All right, so the last piece here before we're done is we're going to try to lift our hips up behind us and make our arms are going to go more overhead. So I'm going to show you real quick. We're going to get our shoulders in a good position. We're going to lift our knees, and then we're just going to lift our hips up. Arms are going to go overhead. It's going to be like I'm trying to drive my head through my arms, but without tucking my chin. Then I'm going to come back down and keep my core stable. Okay, so I want your core just being stable the whole time. Okay, so imagine from the top of my head to my tailbone is ramrod straight, and I'm just tipping up my hips, coming back down. We're not going through any cat-cows or anything like that, guys. So get your stable arms, get your arms straight, chin pulled in. You're going to lift your knees up, and you're going to just try to tip yourself down. And you should be looking between your knees. What's behind me? Keep squeezing your back. So squeeze your back. Try to get as far as you can without bending your elbows. You're going to come back down. We're going to do 2 more. Just using the whole body to help stabilize the shoulders, and the shoulder stability to help the whole body. Good, and that prepares us for our last one, guys. Is I always love to throw some squats in because they're such a functional movement. And we're going to use this towel here. I'm going to pull on it. If you guys pull on this hard enough, you should feel like, oh, I feel my back squeezing and I feel my core kick on. Right? That is a perfect way to stabilize, to help stabilize the hips in the bottom of a squat. So I want you to get into the best bottom squat shape you can. I'm going to get down here. We're going to get into that squat. Try to get where you can. We're going to get our towel, and I want you to pull as hard as you can, and you may feel like that helps. All right, our goal is to not move our knees, and we're going to try to rotate as we're pulling on this towel. We're going to try to rotate as far as we can each direction. I don't want to have knees caving in when I go that way, knees caving in when I go that way. The goal is to keep the stable hip and foot while we twist on top of that. Almost like helicopter rotors rotating over that stable body. We're just spinning over the top, no movement in the knees. The harder you pull on this towel, the more you're going to get that core turn on. I want you to push the floor away just enough to keep you from sinking. Work, guys, work. Pull those arms apart. Try to rip that towel in half. Be able to breathe through your nose. A couple more, guys. Legs are going to be burning. Lean onto your toes. We're going to do 2 more passes. Slow. Pull, 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 pull. And we're done. Good job, you guys. Way to go. So hopefully, guys, we didn't just get some mobility in, or we did get some mobility in, but mobility, just so you guys have a way of thinking of it, is to be strong at our end ranges. Okay, so wherever you can get with the joint, we don't want to just be able to get there. We want to be able to be strong there. Okay, we want to be stable and be able to go and control all the little pieces. So you may feel like worked over pretty good, but you should feel like very aware of your shoulders today and how they move. And hopefully you'll feel like they're separate and that you can control them separately from your spine. Because one of the biggest issues with shoulder pain, low back pain, any major big joint mover pain is that we start to move our spine instead of the joint. When we reach overhead, we'll arch our back all the time. When we reach towards the ground, we'll always round the back. We want to feel like we have some control with our shoulders separately. Okay, so it's a good one to do. Any of the stuff we just did, practice it. It's on Instagram. This is on Instagram Live right now, and I'll post it if you guys want to go over this, because I know we did a lot of detail work today. But pretty good stuff. Hopefully it helps you guys feel awesome today, and that you notice. Get out there and use your shoulders any way you can, whether it's a workout or anything else you can think of. and I hope it helped. All right, guys, see you next week.